President Xi Jinping wrapping up that NPC, National People's Congress, talking about being under the supervision of the Chinese people. It's really a body, a Congress, that rubber-stamped his plans to potentially, I use that word there, rule for life. Now, insights here come courtesy of Hao Hong from Bocom International. Overall, you take a step back and you look at that National People's Congress and you look at the consolidation of power, you look at also quite a radical leadership change as well, albeit not one affecting the top two guys.
Yeah, well, some of the changes actually expected, because, for example, Mr. Zhou Xiaoshan, he's been there for 15 years, right? So he's reached an age of retirement. So, it's natural to assume, there would be some sort of a handover. I think probably even for President Xi, he's changing of constitution so that, the terms of the presidency can be changed. Also has been discussed in the inner circle for some time.
Well, of course, they don't come here and actually make the decision. It's kind of almost getting the approval. Some have called it rubber stamping.
That's right. That's right. And also, the approval rating, at the voting session is unprecedented. It's almost unanimous decision, to pass the decision.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about some of the protagonists which have been promoted. And you just talked about Zhou Xiaoshan. We've got Yi Gang. He's been long-suffering, if you like, lady-in-waiting. He's been deputy governor for ages. What does he bring to the table?
Yeah, I think, well, he's been in PBOC for some time now. He's been back to China to take some leadership in the finance circle, since the 80s. So he's one of the first people who come back from overseas to serve the country. So, he, in the inner circle, he has a very high regard. And also, he's been the chief of SAFE, which is the Foreign Currency Administration Bureau for years. And also, if you remember back in 2015, August 2015, when China initiated the currency exchange rate reform, he was instrumental, despite all the pressure from the stock market crash. So, I think he's earned his stripes and, he's ready for the job.
Yeah, and it was Zhou Xiaoshan himself who said that Yi Gang was responsible for basically everything at the PBOC, right? So clearly has a fair bit of experience. But it's interesting, compared to other candidates like Guo Shiqing, Yi Gang is more steeped in academia, went to the PBOC, doesn't necessarily have the financial markets experience. Do you think that's going to be an issue, and how would that guide his policy direction?
Yeah, I think Guo more likely than not, continue to be the head of CBRC. I think that has been sort of a talks in the inner circle as well. I would say that at this point in time, we've seen some leaders with strong academic background has been doing very well in the new leadership team. For example, Mr. Liu He, who is the chief of General Office for Economics and Finance Affairs, he's been leading the charge of economic reform in terms of, for example, in terms of supply-side reform. And supply-side reform, by now we've seen gradual clearing up of property inventory and also the iron ore production facilities, steel production facilities and all that. And also, we've seen better weather, more blue skies in Beijing during winter time. So, I would say that, he's doing a very good job given his academic background. So, I would say Yi Gang, being in the PBOC for years now and also being instrumental in many of the reforms, including the currency reform we just discussed, should continue to do well as well.